If there's one thing we need to change between now and Rio in June this year, it's for world leaders to understand that our collective prosperity on this planet is now seriously at risk, not just from climate change, but from pressures on land, food, water, and other natural systems. We need to re-engineer our economic system so that the maintenance and protection of our planet is firmly at the centre.
What we've got to realise is we've got to couple all of the environmental issues such as climate change and biodiversity, show how they link to poverty alleviation, food, water, energy and human security, and look at it in a much more integrated, coupled way. That means we're going to have to take some real action. We've got to recognise that the economic system is broken, that simply talking about economic growth in terms of gross domestic product is not the way to go, that we need to recognise we need a different economic system that at least complements GDP by looking at built capital, social capital, natural capital and human capital. We've got to realise that we need to get to grips with some of these unsustainable subsidies that don't help the poor but hurt the environment around energy, transportation and agriculture. And we've got to recognise that biodiversity has real value in the services it provides humanity, and we have to recognise both the market and the non-market value of biodiversity and incorporate that into everyday decision making.
The Rio Plus 20 does not contemplate the adoption of a new protocol, but there could be an important statement of the heads of states to the effect of leading to a new protocol. And I think that would be sort of the ideal result of Rio Plus 20. If we cannot achieve that, at least what one could do is to have an Agenda 21, which was adopted 20 years ago, revised. And the document put forward by the United Nations as a document that is going to be negotiated among the heads of states tries to do that. So there is a document which is sort of similar to Agenda 21, which has lots of recommendations that countries can follow, not only countries, but municipalities, states, and so on. And sort of appeals to the grassroots, sort of a bottom-up approach. I think that will also help. I want to see 1992 redux. Is that a good word in English? A rebirth of the spirit of 92, which led to the Climate Convention, Biodiversity Convention, and Agenda 21. So I think it's an opportunity for a reappraisal of how much have we done, not enough. Okay, so let's go on and try to do some more.
I expect a more bold leadership. The world has no leadership at all in the field of sustainable development. That's why we notice that the climate change discussion is off track. That's why sustainable development since 1992, 2002, Johannesburg, is also being not materialized. So we lack bold leadership at the international level. And those that can give leadership are now in a process of being changed or being either elected, re-elected or whatever. So I don't think it's the right time, 2012, and therefore I really, realistically enough, not expect too much.
Today, it's solutions on the ground, which is the sustainable solution is how much you listen to the knowledge and skills of people who've been there for generations. For instance, if we talk about rainwater harvesting, no engineer understands it. But hundreds of thousands of years, people have been collecting rainwater. Why aren't we bringing that technology, which is a people's technology, back? That's a sustainable solution. Why are we wasting rainwater? And why are you taking water out of the ground, which is more prohibitively expensive with wells and rigs and so on? So, we are saying that listen to the solutions that the people have to offer, and let's bring some of those solutions on the forefront. And that is the sustainable development solution that we should talk about, not something that comes from the West. It should come from within, it should come from below, it should come from people who've already got this problem which they have solved.
What I would love to see happen, but which would be impossible to happen, is for the world leaders to get together and say the nation-state system is only about 200 years old. We've got to change it dramatically now so we can solve our problems that are global. We've got to face the fact that there are too many people on the planet to sustain them in the long term, and we have several billion living in misery. We've got to take all kinds of steps humanely to limit the size of the human population so that we can begin to work within the limits set by the planet, and we can't get out of those limits. This means putting much more effort into educating people, particularly educating women, and giving them more job opportunities, more opportunities in general. There's not a single country in the world where women are treated equally with men. That's a disgrace. It's something we could fix. Every sexually active human being should have access to modern contraception and backup abortion so that they can at least choose the size of the family that they want to have. And they've got to start targeting towards about 1.5 kids on average. So we're going to have to change our reproductive behavior, we're going to have to change our consumption behavior, we're going to have to change the way we treat each other, and we're going to have to change the way we treat the planet. And I don't see the slightest sign that anybody is going to go to Rio and say that.